So the weekend's here. It's Thursday, that's the real start of the weekend. I'm DJ Spoonie, and time now for the Magnificent Seven. We're going to hear from Ronson and Winehouse, some disco from a taste.
Hello and welcome back, and a little update on the A2. I had it down to a car show at the weekend, and it was like a 350-mile round trip, and it ran faultlessly, which is great. I was a bit late to get into the show, so I parked it in the car park there, and it was an Audi A2 Owners Club meet, and I really enjoyed the day, made even more so by the fact that the A2 didn't break down on the way home. So I've still one or two little things to do to the car. The speedo was actually reading 5 miles an hour slower than the car was actually doing, so I'm going to have a little look into that. I'm going to put VAGCOM onto it and see if it can come up with anything. I'm also going to... I've got a set of wheels, I've had them for a while, and they're 17-inch aftermarket alloys, which I'm going to put on. And I'm also going to have a little go at making a PVC rear spoiler. I was inspired by the one I saw at the show at the weekend, and I'm going to have a wee go and make one for myself. So these are the alloys that I've had these a wee while, and they're aftermarket alloys and they're multi-fitting, but I don't think they look too bad, so I've actually rubbed them all down, and I painted this part in here a sort of dark graphite colour, almost black, and once I painted it all, I just these bits would normally be diamond cut, but I just rubbed them down with a drill bit and some sandpaper and then lacquered over the whole lot, and they've come out quite well and I'm quite pleased. And these are the tyres that I bought for it, and these are the 205/40/17s, and some of China's finest, some Lansdales, and they're rated C for fuel economy and B for rain, which is good. Whether or not that is true is debatable. But they were cheap, and the A2's not the fastest car in the world, so they'll do fine. So I'm going to take the wheels and tyres to my mate to get fitted, and hopefully it's a wee bit rainy just now, hopefully it'll be better later on, and we'll get them fitted on the car. I've had a wee problem with the springs as well, in that it was lowered springs that was on it, and it just sat too low, and I bought these new springs and then it sits too high, which I'll show you. So I bought these springs, which are off a 90 TDI, which should hopefully sit a wee bit lower, but not as low as the lowered springs and not as high as the high springs. So I'll fit these on this weekend as well. I'm just back from my mates, and I've got the tyres on the rims, and I think they're going to look really good, really smart. I'm really chuffed to them. So I can't wait to get these on. First things first though, I've got a few silver weights on them, especially this one. This will be going in the rear, and what I do with these first is I usually give them a little coating of black paint. Just to hide the silver of the weights. So it's a super mild evening, so I thought I'd just get on with putting the new coil springs on, hopefully lowered coil springs, and DJ Spoonie on. I'm enjoying it. It's quite late and it's quite mild, but I'm trying to take the strut top bolts off on the driver's side, and I'll just show you. It's really tight to get in here, and I find that if you remove the brake fluid reservoir, clutch fluid reservoir, off its mounting, take the mounting off and just pull that up out the way, you can get into these bolts in here, and they're 13mm, and you need a really small ratchet to get right away in there, and you can only just do it a little bit at a time, but you know, a bit of patience and you'll get there. I've already had this one off before, and one of the bolts, the captive nut, got started to spin in its mounting, so I had to cut it out, and for one of them I use a small nut in the bolt. There you go, that's the third one out. Love working on a car on a night like this. The radio on, it's lovely and mild. Nobody's bothered me. It's fantastic. And the nuts and bolts are coming off easy too, which is the bonus. Well, good morning. I had to call it a day last night as it got too dark, so we've come back out again this morning and to get this side out, and I'll just show you. For some reason on this side you've got to remove the bottom ball joint, take the shaft out because it just doesn't drop low enough to get the shock absorber out. So I've done that, I've pulled that out, managed to get the shock absorber out, change the spring, put it all back in again, and now I'm going to connect up the shaft and the bolts underneath on the bottom ball joint. There, that's it done. I've got the coil springs on and it's reduced it about 25mm, which is great. It's riding nice and level now. And I'm an old bloke, so I can't get away with lowered suspension, plus it's way too harsh around this area. And with the new 17-inch wheels that I've put on, which I'm really pleased with, and the brand new tyres, it should ride quite well. So I'm getting the overall look of the car right now, and I like this sort of black and silver look. And with the A2 you can get Votex kits for them, but to be honest I'm not overly keen on the Votex kit, because especially on a silver car, because it's quite a tall car and it makes it look like a little bread van, for want of a better description. So I like the black strip along the bottom. It doesn't make it look as tall, especially when it's sitting on the higher suspension. It's all levelled out now and I'm really starting to like the look. But I said I wasn't too keen on the Votex kit, but I am keen on the Votex rear spoiler. And I saw one at a car show last weekend of a certain A2 Owners Club member, and he made his own. So I'm going to have a little attempt at that, but that's for another video.
Taking us all the way back. Same sentiment coming in from Charlotte, except Charlotte says it's 10:42 here in New Zealand and these tunes are rumbling my car. Right, I'm going to take you back now. If you can tell me the year. It was the year that J.K. Rowling's first Harry Potter novel, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, came out, and the year that Tony Blair became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. It was 1997. What also happened in that year is that there was a record that was imported into the UK from an American artist called Tina Moore, and on the B-side, track 2, was this record.